Hello, it's Tuesday and I'm back. It's Kira here, your host on this Tuesday night edition of Chicago Corner. I'm so excited for tonight's show. It is jam-packed. Apologies for starting 5 minutes late. It is that jam-packed that just getting everything together has been it's been something, I'll admit it. We're all professionals here, and we still every now and again get a little tripped up, especially because we have so many incredible guests tonight. I'm very excited about who we have on this evening. We're going to be honoring Giving Tuesday this evening by bringing on the founders of Focus Fairies Mentoring. And then we're also going to be showcasing Big City Pictures here at the tail end of the show. So get excited for that. With me, as always, is the one, the only, Mr. Jerry Vasilatos. Welcome to the show, Jerry. How you doing this evening?
Oh, well, here I am.
Yeah, that's about right. That's about how I feel.
I had to muster all that strength I try to hang on to and get through it, but I've survived and I'm all right. And I'm really glad to be here tonight to join you for what I think is I hope we have more shows like this where we have segments interviewing guests doing things and giving back throughout Chicago between Focus Fairies and Big Screen Chicago, I think it is. I can't even remember. I'm not.
I might have said it wrong, and I might have messed you up.
My brain is scrambled because this is the first time we are having them join us. And in addition to that,
Big Picture Chicago.
Big Picture Chicago.
Oy vey, come on. Let's get it together, you guys.
Yeah, my brain is a bit scrambled, so I apologize to that. But yeah, two filmmakers as well as the producer of Big Picture Chicago will be joining us around the 8:30 mark of the show. In the meantime, we've got Focus Fairies and news, updates
Lots
on the main car, the usual suspects. It's going to be fun.
We have measuring contests today. I mean,
we do
the whole 9 yards. No pun intended.
That's what she said.
That is what she said. All right. Well, let's bring on our other co-host, the one with the most deep dish pizza out there, Mr. Ed Heller. What up?
Yes, I have the best lighting today.
No, you don't. That's arguable.
No. Okay.
Yeah, Jared's lighting is pretty good, but
I've got the dramatic.
I have the worst.
I've got the dramatic mood lighting.
Well, I mean, I actually turned a couple extra lights on just so I was having.
But I'm in a
warm
spaceship,
lights today.
so.
Yeah, Kira does that thing where she's in a spaceship and it still looks fine.
I did mention on the Tuesday show, I was glad you got some fill light so we can see your face better. It looks good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know, because when I turn it off, it's like, see?
Yeah. It makes a good difference.
Way better, right?
I still haven't nailed mine. I mean, I have a ring light here. I have other lights up here, but those wash me out too much. And this one, I don't know. It's not perfect. It's okay though. As long as people can see us decently enough and hear us decently enough, we're good.
But you always brighten up the screen, so there's no need to.
You know how I do. That's what I do, folks. Yes. So yeah, go ahead, Ed. What are you gonna say?
Oh, nothing. Let's get on with the rest of the show.
We have so much to do.
Talking about how the sausage is made.
We're always talking about how the sausage is made. Not always, but a lot of the time we do, so people can understand what it is we do for them. All right, cool. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive right in. So as many of us know, and many actually may not know, that today is nationally known as Giving Tuesday. Today is the day that Americans traditionally give to charities and foundations they believe are doing good things in the world. Tonight, our guest is here to talk about, with all of us, one such organization called Focus Fairies Mentoring. Focus Fairies Mentoring is a mentorship community for young ladies who lack resources, guidance, and support in their homes and opportunities in Chicago public schools. The mentors in this program are women who did not let their circumstances overcome them, but in fact overcame their circumstances. They come from a variety of walks of life and share how they overcame those struggles to empower, motivate, and inspire youth in similar communities and backgrounds. So joining us tonight is co-founder Kenya J. Conley. Let me tell you a little bit about her before we pop her on the screen. Kenya is a native of the West Side of Chicago. She fell in love with nonprofit work as a teenager, sparked by volunteering within her community by feeding the homeless. She began mentoring young women at an early age, and those two acts created the groundwork for her current passion for charitable work. Over the years, Kenya has devoted her time and talent to giving back to underrepresented communities and guiding young girls throughout their journey of finding purpose. So let's welcome to the show, Kenya. Hello.
Hi, you guys.
Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome.
How are you?
I am doing exceptionally well on this Giving Tuesday.
Awesome. Yeah, but I'd love to hear a little bit about what event you're at right now, because you said that you're at an actual event at the moment.
I am, yes. I'm at an actual event called One on One. They're one of our biggest supporters for our organization. So we are here and they're having a fundraiser. So we're here to support them in their fundraiser today on this Giving Tuesday.
Oh, that's so great. So are you guys do sort of a combo event together where you're supporting them and they're supporting you, sort of a thing?
So they actually, they support us on both ends, you know, like for instance, like when they have events, we support, but also just even outside of the event piece, they really support Fairies with all that we do with the young girls in Chicagoland.
All right, right on.
They support our mission and our vision.
Awesome. Now, I know that I'm not sure if you know whether or not Derica was still planning on joining us, the other co-founder of Focus Fairies Mentoring. But if she comes in, you know, we're just gonna fold her on in as if she was there the whole time. And so just for our viewing, that might happen.
Yeah, she may pop in. She's actually she does event planning, and this is one of the events that she's actually overseeing. So she just stepped away really quick. So she should be popping in really short.
All right, cool. Well, tell us a little bit about. So I was checking out your website, and you said that you started Focus Fairies Mentoring in 2017. You and Derica did together. Now,
yes.
How did you two meet and ultimately come up with this idea?
So Derek and I did a lot of volunteer work in the 27th Ward, which is like the near North Side, Cabrini Green area, Marshallfield Garden area. Where we did a lot of feed the homeless, a lot of coat drives, just different giving back opportunities for the community. And we started, seeing each other on a regular basis for the different events that we were having, and just also build a sisterhood. And then just really decided, like, hey, we should, give back. Look at these young girls in the area. Like, they are, a lot of them are single family homes and they don't have father figures. Their parents are working 2 to 3 jobs and just trying to provide. So we decided that, we would look into starting a mentoring organization because it was a need, and it's also just resources that giving back in the area as well.
Right on. Yeah, I had noticed in Derica's bio, she talked about really seeing this as an opportunity to create mentoring like she was hoping, or that she wished she had when she was younger. And y'all mentioned that you both have overcome a lot in your own youth. Who were your mentors when you were younger? Who were the people that you looked up to and could actually see opportunity for yourselves through?
So I didn't have a mentor, and I can speak for Derica. She didn't have a mentor as well. So that was one of the main reasons that really pushed us to start our own organization, because Derica and I come from different walks of life. I'm a single mom, had my son when I was 18. So it was just like, just different things we didn't learn when we were growing up. We didn't have that outlet. A lot of times you didn't have that relationship with the mom, certain things you were dealing with. You just didn't feel comfortable going to your mom to talk about things that you were dealing with. So it was kind of like you would just go to other individuals for an outlet. The parent was not the option. It's like, I'm not going to my mom. to talk to her about I'm dating a boy, or just different things that we're going, different things that young women deal with. So I didn't have a mentor, and I know Jerry didn't have one either as well. So that was one of the main key things that we said, like, we need to make sure these young girls have someone that they can talk to, because a lot of young girls don't feel comfortable talking to their parents.
Right, absolutely. Well, I definitely acknowledge you two for overcoming all of those obstacles yourselves, because that's a huge feat. It's a really big deal, and I'm guessing that you have a lot to share with the mentees that come through your program because of that experience. So that's incredible. Now, I noticed in your programming that you segmented into age groups, starting as young as 7 years old and going all the way up to 21 years old. So you're definitely starting to hit into adulthood, which I think is amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about each of these programs and the kind of activities that a young woman or a young girl might partake inside of these programs?
When we started Focus Fairies, we were focusing on the age range between 7 and 14. But because of the young women, as they would age out, we didn't want them to be out there with no other resources. So we was like, hey, we need to have something else, another program for them to be into, to help them through the college, through high school, and through college as well. So we didn't want them to graduate and just didn't have any mentors. We wanted to always have that relationship with them. So we decided to extend the age group to 21. So our program, we focus on self-esteem, bullying, and peer pressure. A lot of our youth are experiencing trauma within the families, just lack of resources in communities, and also self-esteem, bullying, peer pressure, and also financial literacy. As we were growing up, we didn't know anything about investments, saving, things of that nature. So that's really big now, to teach our kids to get a head start of it. Like, start saving at an early age, start investing your money, start learning about stocks, start learning about cryptocurrency. So it's a lot of different, investments out there now that was out there when we were younger, but our parents just wasn't knowledgeable about it to even, share that information with us. So just along the way to avoid them from being in debt, also just paving the way for their grandkids, just general wealth throughout the years for their grandkids and their grandkids.
A little tip though: start guiding them away from the cryptocurrency, and we're unstable right now. As Ed and I have been monitoring, we're all in with the meme stocks that are supposed to.
Don't feel bad. I haven't even looked at mine. I don't even look at it anymore.
I mean, it was. At one point, it was a good idea.
Your crypto wallet right now.
Yeah, at one point it was a good idea, but jumping in now, I don't know if it's until some things come out with investigations.
Yeah.
We don't want to see these kids lose the hard-earned money that they put in.
I definitely don't look at our portfolio at all. It'd be way too depressing at this point.
I can tell you the last time I logged into my profile to even look, I'll just wait. I'll check it maybe like a year from now.
I'm gonna wait it out. Ride this one out. Yeah.
It's like the blood pouring out of the elevators in The Shining, all the red.
It definitely is.
Oh my goodness. So, when you expanded from 14 up into basically young adult, what were some of your bigger obstacles with that? Are there bigger obstacles? Because so instantly when you said, we started with 7 to 14 and then we expanded, instantly I'm thinking I feel like when you get them young.
and that's what we try. That's what we really try to focus on, getting them younger, because it's best to get them young so we can, pretty much mold them to, as they become teenagers. It's kind of hard when they're in that teenager phase and you're trying to correct things now. It's a struggle, but it can be done.
Yeah, I imagine so. So were there any obstacles inside of that expansion when you expanded from 14 up to 21 that you maybe didn't foresee or you did foresee and you knew you had to overcome?
So I would say the only obstacles that we experience, because we really have a bond with our girls, we have a relationship with them. I would say just the parents are not involved. Parents are not involved. A lot of kids are dealing with maybe hopping from different to grandma's house, to their mom's house, to a sister house. So it's more like the stability piece of just trying to keep in contact with them, because numbers change. Of course, the addresses may change, but I think it's just more so for us. The parents are not involved.
Right on. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
So would you say that most of the girls that come in, let's say they come in at between the 7 and I think it's like 7 and 9 age range, would they basically stay through all of the programming
They do.
generally?
Yes, the
Okay.
parents absolutely are so for what we're doing. The parents that we do have some parents that are involved, but majority of them are not. But a lot of them support what we do.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
they make
That's
sure
really
that
great.
they're always at our sessions, supporting like any events that we have. Also, just just being an advocate for our organization and saying, hey, my daughter has improved in school. Her grades have gotten better. Her attitude is better. And it's just those type of different outcomes that makes us show that we're making a difference in the communities today.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and I'm looking at your page right now, and you said that the Fearless Fairy program will help your daughter make decisions and set goals, keep motivated and focused on her goals, improve self-awareness, which I think is amazing, improve behavioral and emotional disorders, increase her leadership capabilities, and nurture her confidence, self-esteem, and spirituality. If you're free to share, and if there's like confidentiality issues with sharing any of this, I totally get it. But could you like tell us a story of maybe a girl like that, went from one space and totally transformed into another? Because I know that people really connect to stories very well, and I would love to hear of one such example at least.
So we have a lot of young girls that are experiencing self-esteem. A lot of them are not confident in who they are, not knowing their self-worth. So we've had a lot of also of our mentees have experienced trauma. They've lost a sibling, they've lost a parent. So in that event, just saying like, of course, when you're experiencing things like that, you can't tell a person how to grieve. Everybody deals with things differently. So for us, it's just been more like a factor of just being supportive of them. I've lost loved ones and just telling them how to cope with it. But everybody grieves differently. So it's just like a lot of our students too have behavior problems. They're in school, they're acting out of character because there's certain things that they're dealing with at home. They don't have an outlet. So, I mean, just being involved with our program, I have teachers and say like, hey, what are you telling her? What are you doing differently that I'm not doing? We have a relationship with them. We show them, that it's more than just mentoring. We look at our mentees as if they're our kids. I don't have any daughters, but Derek and I both look at our mentees as our kids.
That's great. That's really great.
Outside of the program itself, we have their numbers. They have our numbers. They'll call us when they're having a bad day. That's one of the things we really focus on when we have our sessions. We want to know, like, how was your day today? What did you experience today? What type of obstacles did you face that you could have handled differently? So, just sharing with them, like, you don't have to, I tell them all the time, I had a bad day today. Work was not great for me. I had a client, it was just a real challenging day. So I let them know, like, we deal with the same things that you deal with. We're not exempt.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important for girls to see that, like, life doesn't, it can be easier through, when you're looking through life in a different lens, but the same obstacles and circumstances continue to come up. And there are ways to deal with those obstacles and circumstances that can create different outcomes. So I think that's why when I read self-awareness, I was like, oh, thank goodness, right? Because I think that's probably one of the most important pieces when it comes to any sort of mentoring, coaching, guidance, even therapy, right? Is just really allowing people the opportunity to take a look at themselves and say, like, who am I being?
Mental health support.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do want to get to the Giving Tuesday campaign, but before we do that, one thing I was super curious about, because it sounds like so much fun, is this
actually wrapping up. It's starting at 5:30, but it's wrapping up. So
okay. Yeah, no.
Math of everything.
What I was alluding to was the fairy ball. That sounds like right up my alley.
You should come. We would love.
I'm emceeing an event that night because I checked the date. I was like, oh my God, fairy ball? Do I get to dress up? I was like, yes. And then I'm like, darn it, I'm emceeing something that evening. So I'm actually not even available. But tell us about the Fairy Ball and who can go and what it's all about.
So the Fairy Ball is a public event. We started doing it last year. This is actually our second annual. We focus on all of the girls that are in our program coming to dress up in their gowns. It's a gala, and it's pretty much just, honoring the girls for accomplishments that they've achieved throughout our organization throughout the year. So we have entrepreneurs, young women who are entrepreneurs, their age, they're actually going to be there showcasing themselves, showing them what they do. We're going to have live performances. We're going to have our board members are going to be there. It's open to everybody. So we focus on mainly it's a end of the year event for our young girls, and just giving them award. They're going to receive award certificates for their accomplishments and their achievements that they made throughout the year with our program.
Very cool. And yeah, just for our viewers, if you want to check that out, that's going to be held on December 8th. It's from 5 to 8 p.m.
December 3rd.
It's December 3rd? Oh, this flyer says December 8th. Okay, well, then I might be able to go. All right, so December 3rd from 5 to 8 p.m. And it's in Fulton. It's in Fulton Market, correct? Cool. And you can find information on the website for the Fairy Ball. So if you want to check that out and have an opportunity to go out and get dressed up and have a fantastic time, and
And I understand we have a video.
So just so I
queued up too.
About the gala, it's actually 811 West Fulton. It's in Fulton Market. Mm-hmm. This Saturday, December 3rd, from 5 to 8. It's open to the
from
public.
5 to 8. Fantastic. And would I have to get the tickets ahead of time, or would I be able to purchase at the door?
We'll add you on the VIP list.
All right, sweet. Well, I mean, now that I know it's December 3rd, I actually might make it. So awesome. Cool. So let's talk about your Giving Tuesday campaign, because y'all are killing it too. I mean, just a little bit left, so maybe we can be that push over the edge a little bit. So I understand that there is a video. I wanted to make sure that we can watch that video so everybody can get a feel of what the mentoring program is like, and then let's get a little bit into how you guys are doing on this fundraiser.
Today's topic is around friendships and getting to know yourself and how you have connections with other people that are just like you. We are having scavenger hunts, cake pop, and we also have a pastry chef coming through. The scavenger hunts allow them to share more details about themselves, breaking barriers of shyness, and being able to communicate with other fairies. They're going to have some cake pops, which is more hands-on, and get to develop those other skills to see if that's something else that they like to do.
Now I want cake pops.
Why not give back to our community? These girls need someone to look up to. This has the opportunity for the mentors to shine some light on them in their future. And also get to know other girls that are just like them, the same age group, keeping the positivity flowing here in Chicago.
Show respect, and celebrate your friends. Celebrate our friends.
We're always looking for mentors and mentees. You can definitely find us at FocusFairiesMentoring.com. There you can link up to the Facebook page and also our Instagram. Come on through, visit the website, sign up. We're definitely looking out for you.
So look
Delightful.
who joined us. Look who joined us, guys.
Hey there. Is that you, Derica?
Yep.
Yes, how you doing?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
I'm great.
For everybody that doesn't know, this is the other co-founder of Focus Fairies Mentoring. It's so great to see you.
You too.
I'm so glad that we could have y'all on tonight because it's just a really like heartwarming organization you guys have created here, and I'm just really glad that people like you in the world exist. So
Thank you. I appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely. Let's jump into how the Giving Tuesday campaign is going. Ed, I think that there is a direct link to
to the fundraiser. Yeah.
To the fundraiser, so we can see how that's coming along.
Yeah. Here's that link, and let me see if I can pull that up on the screen for you. No. All right.
So that's where we just saw
oh,
the
nice.
video.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
look at that.
And we almost there. And we also have another campaign going on Facebook with an additional 500. So we're close.
Woohoo! Yeah, everybody. So if you haven't given for Giving Tuesday, and even if you have, check it out. They're so close. Let's help push them over the edge to reach their $15,000 goal. So, share with us. I mean, I don't know if this is too personal a question. Like, where does this funding go? Like, what does it go to support?
So it primarily goes to programming. So essentially, it costs about $2,500 for each girl to go through our yearly program cycle. And so with the funding from Giving Tuesday, grants, and supporters, it really helped those who are less fortunate be a part of Focus Fairies and actually be able to come in and get the mentoring. We take the girls on a trip in the summer. We do 2 events for them. We provide them with snacks and warm meals. And then again, we provide yearly mentoring services. And so the funds really help so that we can continue to grow our program, so that we can continue to build our team, and then also be able to provide stipends for our mentors who primarily does a lot of the pouring and the facilitation to our girls.
Yeah. Awesome. That's really, really amazing. Yeah, I was looking at the application, like the sign-up sheet, and the people who come in as mentees, do they pay a dime to come in? Nope. That's amazing. That is amazing. So, y'all, this is a really, really great cause, a really great opportunity to, give back and give to communities and folks in an organization that is really doing good in the community. Really appreciate that. Jerry and Ed, do you have anything that you want to ask? I know I sort of bogarted this interview a little bit. Anything on your end?
Well, no, go ahead, Ed.
Go ahead, Jerry.
I was going to say that there were a few questions in the live chat. We always encourage our viewers to participate in the conversation. We had an interesting question from friend of the show, Art Medina, who asks, we all need guidance, but we all need friends too. Is Focus Fairies allowed to create friendships along with the mentorship?
Are we allowed to create friendships?
I guess what he's asking is, like, along with the mentorship, I couldn't imagine you would discourage friendships amongst those who are in the mentorship. But is there a component there to bring the different youth together and not just focus on the mentorship, to build the friendships beyond the mentorship program? If I'm understanding Art's question correctly.
Yes. So yes, we so because we have a wide age range, which is 7 to 21, we have like little sister kind of club. So for fairies who may be a part of I Am Fearless, which is that 7 to 12-year-old age, but then we have girls who are a part of West the T, which is 6 to 1. So the older girls can essentially become big sisters, fairy godmothers.
Oh, cool.
Nice. That's nice. So you return and participate later.
Yep.
That's really cool. That's really great. Very nice. Yeah. And then also pave the road for them to become mentors as well, right? So that's perfect. Any other questions that we saw in the live chat, y'all, that I may have missed? Art says it's becoming very apparent that many homes are really struggling financially and mentally. Any kindness in the program is greatly wanted by who join. No, I
By
don't know
those
if I
who
understand
join,
that
he
question.
said.
By
Yeah.
those who join. I mean, Art? Are you saying that any kind of financial and mental guidance and help? Oh, there's Art right there.
Art, what's your question?
What is your question? I don't understand it. I just want to make sure it gets answered.
Yeah, well, I apologize for interrupting the conversation, but no, basically it's because there's a lot of it's just there's a lot of loneliness out there, especially by a lot of children who unfortunately don't really have the connection. Sometimes they don't have the connection at home. So if they actually join a program like this and they make a connection with someone who guides them and becomes a friend to them, I mean, it must make them happy. So, for the struggles that anybody has in terms of not being happy, this is obviously a program that gives them the opportunity to be happy if they are looking for something to, I don't know, make them happy in the holiday season, I guess.
It gives them hope.
It gives them hope.
It gives them hope. And what it does is, I think that what's beautiful about this is when you talk about kids who are coming from homes that, the parents are not always present, or they might have domestic situations, or they might not have a lot of friends at school, you're basically instilling hope in these participants that, no, it doesn't end there. There's a whole world out there and other people that are there to support you, love, nurture, and guide you, and so that you don't feel alone.
Exactly.
Yes.
Just that as well. Yeah, myself has strategically thought about what does that look like. So if a girl comes through our program and they're broken or they feel alone, we can mentor them, we could pour into them, but then they go back into brokenness. So we've been strategic about how do we holistically provide services that is not just healing the girls, but also the family, the guardian, the mom, the brother, etc. So then we are healing the community. It's not just our girls, but then it's mentorship for the mom, it's mentorship for the grandma, etc. So it's really a way to kind of decrease the brokenness that they go back into, so that they don't feel like, well, Miss D told me not to do this, but then mom is telling me to do this. And it's kind of helping them to really holistically understand like one way, essentially. So we've been really thinking about like, how do we pour into the families as well?
I have another question, and it might be way too complicated to cover in this discussion, but how do you convince these broken participants? I mean, I'm sure a lot of it has to do with the aid and support you give, but a lot of people are so broken, they don't have the self-love that they need. How do you help people discover how to love themselves, so that all the support you're giving can actually, be of benefit to how they can then, get over whatever self-doubt that they have? I mean, that's a rough starting point, is what I'm imagining, is the people who you might come across who come into the program that are really that broken that they don't really recognize the value in themselves.
Yeah, so we initially, when the program starts, we create a pre-assessment, and it's just kind of like a survey for our girls to just answer questions that really focus on like self-worth, self-value, and self-esteem. And we just have them complete the questions, and as we go through programming, we also empower them for us to hear their voices. What we learned over the years is that sometimes we think we know what our girls need, but it's not really what they need at that moment. And so really empowering them to let us know exactly what are you dealing with as a 7-year-old girl? What are you dealing with as a 15-year-old girl? And how can we create programming curricula around that to ensure that we are able to take you from a broken place, take you from a place of feeling hopeless. And so those surveys kind of really help us. And so at the end of the program, we give them the same survey with the same questions, so that we can kind of monitor, have they changed how they feel about themselves? Are the answers different? Are the answers not different? Because if there's no movement or it's nothing changing in our survey, we need to think about a different approach with our program and our curriculum.
And you've probably also got mental health professionals there to also help assess and help guide all of you with the support to know if there's really a problem there that, more professionally equipped and experienced people can contribute to help out with that.
Correct. Yep.
Cool.
So we work with,
That's great. I mean, what you ladies are doing is fantastic. It's obviously very sorely needed support all throughout. Well, we should have these kind of services and support everywhere. This is the kind of support and services that you would think those in positions of civic leadership would provide. But since they don't, we
Thank
have
you.
wonderful ladies like you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just thought I'd bring up this this little chart here because this is actually pretty impressive. It says since 2021, Focus Fairies Mentoring hosted 200 mentoring sessions with an 80% completion rate.
That's incredible.
Now that's really good. How do you feel like you've gotten that 80%? Do you feel like you need to do better?
I feel like areas of growth would be because we just started with when we first launched in 2017, we only went up to age 7 to 15. And so after COVID, we kind of pivoted and went up to age 21. And so I think the area of growth for us is really understanding how do we reach that 16 or 21-year-old girl and really speak to them and really mentor them without them feeling like it's like we're their moms or their teachers. So I feel like it's definitely a growth area for the organization. With our youth program, since we started, we have grown to over 9 sites. Essentially, we were in one community on the near north side for about 3 years. And then after the pandemic, our program just began to blossom. Like people started to refer us. We started to get recommendations. And so now we have about 9 sites that we do our mentoring service with. And I think what also makes us unique is, again, we are a year-round program. So we go all year. Like we have summer programming, fall, and spring.
That's awesome. Now, because I think you said your programming like spans from 4 to 19 weeks or something like that. Can a gal, say, who is in the 7 to 9 age range, continue the programming for the full 2 years she's inside of that age range, and then just graduate to the next level of programming and continue continuously?
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. I love it. Cool. All right. Well, I want to thank you, ladies, for your time. Thank you for coming on here. Can we pop the Giving Tuesday link up one more time, just so that everybody gets a chance to see it, to link to it, and to give them your money, because it is a really great cause. And thank you, ladies, so much. Is there any parting words you'd like to say before we bid each other adieu tonight?
Go
ahead.
I just thank you all for the interview, taking time out to interview us as founders, learning more about our program, our organization, what we do in the community. It means a lot to us.
It means a lot to us that you're out there doing it. We need more people doing this. Well, there are wonderful Chicagoans doing similar programs, but we thank you for we know it's not easy.
It's not. So we keep
So give and support them.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
You got it. Thanks, ladies. Have a great night.
All right.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Bye.
Peace. Bye.
You know, I figured I'd keep Art in the program since we're going to be talking about his old boss, Ed Burke, shortly. Just so, because Art's going to be joining us for the big picture Chicago segment later, because he's one of the filmmakers. But I just realized as he had popped in to ask that question, and we cover the usual suspect segment. I don't know, maybe he'd have something to contribute as we talk about Burger King Ed.
Yeah. You want to start?
No, let's wrap
Jerry.
up. Also, I think the Focus Fairies thing was great. I'm glad we could have them on. And I would encourage everybody to definitely visit their links and contribute, because, I mean, this is the kind of stuff we talk about every week. We're always like bitching about stuff, but at the same token, we were trying to find solutions. There was a solution, right? If you can't get directly involved,
absolutely
contribute to help those that have the time to give back and help so many of the youth throughout the city that need this kind of support. Because obviously
it's really unusual. It's really unusual to actually find anybody who is developing what can only be described as an act of kindness, because you don't really see that often enough. You really don't. You don't see kindness enough anymore, in my opinion. But those two ladies, they proved me wrong tonight. They have a program that's all about kindness. That's great.
It's nice to be
and one of the things One of the things, yeah, right. One of the things that I know we as a collective at Chicago Corner are really trying to do are highlight people that are doing good things in community, because it's so easy in media to always talk about what's really shitty, right? And do the complaining piece, and it's great to commiserate with each other too, and it's important to have community around that commiseration, but when there's no outlet to actually take action inside of, whether it's giving money, which you guys, giving money, I just want to set the record on giving money to organizations. You don't need to be going out and volunteering and doing all of this stuff with your time. If you can give money, that is a huge asset. And I think that people really undervalue the value of money, as funny as that sounds. Like,
it's needed everywhere.
I think a lot of people think like, oh, I wish I had more time to go to a protest or call my legislator or do this or do that, when really it's like, give $50. Just give $50 to this organization so they can meet their end of the year goal and they can start providing programming for 2023. Money is a massive factor in whether or not an organization is going to survive. So
Kathy Powers mentioned in the chat earlier, I have about 100 email requests for me to give. I got them too, Kathy. You know what? To what Kira just said, if you've got $50 to give, or let's say you got $100 to give $1 to each of the 100 email requests. I guess if you can manage to do that, a little goes a long way if everybody's doing it. So.
Yeah, and the other piece, what I always gauge it by is like, what really excites me. Or, what really lights my hair on fire, like what is really going to have me feel like I'm making impact in the areas that are the most important to me. Now, some of us, time is the resource we have more of than money, right? Mm-hmm. And, if you can actually go out and do things, that's incredibly important too. I just think that in the world of activism, the time piece is almost seemingly more valued than the money piece. I know, again, that it sounds really strange to say, but I think that people are always feeling like they need to be out doing things, being in the streets, being, talking to people and talking to legislators. And while that is a huge piece of organizing, if you don't have that resource of time, like money is really, really valuable. I don't need to tell you, but like it's valuable in your personal life, but it's value in organizing. It's super valuable.
And they certainly work hand in hand, Kira, because some people who have the time don't have the money. So if you want to support an organization, but you can't donate your time for whatever reason, but they do need funds in order to keep doing what they're doing, then it's worthwhile if you've got the funds to help them out. I mean, obviously you got to do your background checks. You look to see, are these people legit? Are they really doing stuff to help people? And these people look like they are. 80% success rate. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah. Pretty good. I mean, I was really impressed with some, like, talking about making an impact in the home. Like, you're not only in this, this young woman or this girl's like life directly, just right there presently with her, but like also impacting the home life. Like, what has to shift in the home to actually make these this last. And then also, y'all, a lot of us don't have time. A lot of us don't have money, either of those resources. Share the stream, share their website on your social media. We all have platforms at this point in our lives. That's another huge thing that people undercut or undervalue when it comes to things like amplifying these organizations or making sure that they succeed. Just post on your social media. I just learned about this organization that does this for young girls. That's a huge value give. So there's always something to do, y'all. Don't let that conversation about collectivism keep you from taking action. Take action. Do something. There's always
well said, Kira. Well said.
So, I've been an activist a long time, you guys. So
she knows.
I've been around the block. I know how to be helpful in all of these areas. So definitely take action.
So should we dive into our first story?
Well, okay. So do we? Because I had the first story being talking about who's running for mayor, but we want to talk about Ed Burke first because that's going to probably be a shorter segment.
Yeah, in case the other people come in for the Big Picture Chicago.
Yeah.
And you know, Kira, how much I'm thrilled to want to be able to share this Photoshop that I created for just this occasion.
So yeah, absolutely. That's
to
great.
which we also have.
I mean, that's meme
I'm sorry.
material right there.
Is that Photoshop? Because I can't really tell.
That's like meme material. It's like he just crop dusted or something.
I had fun getting the show thumbnail done early, but yeah, I mean, you can take it. I mean, I have the story up. I just thought that I guess we saw it coming. Burger King Ed is well done. He's not just done; he's well done.
Well, I think that I do have a video.
Oh, you mean this one?
Oh, hey, geez, Ed's all
right.
over it. Shit. Let's do that.
Okay.
We do have some breaking news at City Hall. It is the end of an era on the city council.
Thank
Ed Burke,
Christ.
the longest serving alderman in Chicago history, will not seek a 15th term in office. Burke did not file any nominating petitions with the Chicago Board of Elections. Like today's 5-page headline, ending a political career that spanned more than 50 years. Burke's retirement comes as he prepares to stand trial for bribery and racketeering. That trial begins next November.
Put a fork in him. He's done. Well done.
Zoink.
The first round of corruption. And as I mentioned, Art, you used to work in his office. Any insights into this?
Well, it's not that I have any insights. I never really truly met the man, but let's just say that he was in charge of the Committee of Finance, which pretty much paid all of the Chicago bills. And I used to work for the Department of Finance. And, let's just say this, okay? The guy has done his time. And when I mean that he's done his time, he's had 50 years of just making the Chicago machine work.
He's got more time to do, hopefully.
Oh, yeah. But the thing is that eventually it was all going to catch up to him. Even he realizes, well, I got away with it for the last 50 years because that's essentially what happened. And even if he were to go to trial, the man is not really going to spend a lot of time in jail if he goes there. So, he beat the system.
I mean, they caught up with Fast Eddie, and he did some time. It's my understanding they might be returning him to jail for other crimes that they've found out with him. So who knows? I mean, we can keep our fingers crossed and hope that Ed Burke will do some time because he certainly earned it.
Well, he's running out of time. What is he, 79, and they're not going to have the trial for another year or so?
Another year,
Exactly. I mean, the man is going to just relax now that he's not going to be an alderman anymore, and he's got plenty of time to relax and enjoy life before it changes for him again. Yeah, and plenty of money to do it. Absolutely.
And I guess have his attorneys appeal to keep him out. So yeah, you're probably right with that.
79 old.
But I mean, the thing is that, and here's the thing about, when I was working for him, we would get a Christmas card from him. Anybody who worked for him got a Christmas card. And, it's amazing how you get something and you see how they're smiling in the picture and they look like they have a very good life. But you know that he's actually performed some evil in the world. But the evil was to maintain, well, let's just face it, the evil that he may have committed through whatever means that he is being accused of, he let it go on because other people let it go on. It wasn't just him. It was a lot more people. So just catching him, I know it's not enough because where he is, there's plenty of other people like him who are in power, who are running the city. And we're never really going to be away from any of their shadows anytime soon. Ed Burke is a big fish, but he's not the ocean.
Right.
That's very well said. Very well said.
And I think that his big fishness is what's going to probably keep him out of any sort of being locked up kind of a situation, which is a real bummer because I think that what that displays, and we see it all over in America. This is just like a microcosm of like the the larger items at play, which is basically that if you have enough money, if you have enough power, you're above the law.
Well, if you had enough power and you have enough money, you should just be kind to people and not. I don't know. That's
Seriously.
I'm getting philosophical here.
Yeah.
Well, we're all taking a look, down the road and stuff. But at least in the short term, we can celebrate that he's no longer an alderman.
Huzzah!
Yeah, absolutely.
One more down. And he makes number 16 of the aldermen who were previously serving,
up
who
to
are
16?
no longer. Yeah, I think that makes number 16 of aldermen who are not running. So we're basically, I don't want to say literally, we're basically going to have a totally different city council when this new round.
A lot of opportunities with the incumbents who've dropped out, and a lot of forward-thinking, let's say, authentic progressives jumping in to take advantage of the opportunity.
Well,
I just hope that the people who do become the new aldermen, I hope they're smart people, but I don't want them to be smart where they can steal and be terrible to people. I want them to be smart where they can figure out solutions and actually come up with ideas that will get us out of a lot of the hellhole that we're in.
Or to your previous point, Art, just like having enough people who are coming in with good intentions that wouldn't allow for any of these like more rotten intentions to come through. The people that would say, well, hey, wait a minute, this is, I'm not really, I don't really support what you're doing, so this idea of a machine is coming to an end, coming to a close. Or maybe it becomes like a, more left-wing progressive machine. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what that looks like. That's not a thing. So yeah. So do we want to talk a little bit about Ed Burke's history? His reign as alderman has been since 1969 over his ward, not far from Midway Airport. It's seen its demographics shift from a mix of working class Irish and Eastern Europeans to an overwhelmingly Latino constituency. Those changes in the specter of the high-profile charges alleging he abused his considerable power made it far from certain that he would have won whether if he did decide to run again. So I don't know, Art, if you have any insight on that constituency at all, and whether or not you think he might have won the next election had he decided to run, or anybody has any insight on that.
Well, if the thing is that I think that, to your point about how a lot of older people are suddenly dropping out, they no longer want to be part of the system to some extent. They kind of did it, and I think Ed Burke sort of realizes there's really not much more that we can do. I mean, if these older people have bled their, parts of the city, dry, and they see that there's no more prospect in being an alderman, well, then they've decided to quit and, be happy for whatever they're going to do next. But Ed Burke himself must have realized, the landscape is changing so fast and it's getting to be so difficult to keep me in the game. I'm going to drop out. And like I said before, he's just, going to live out whatever life he has left before they, put him in jail. But, the thing is that even evil people have got to get tired of being evil. Even people who,
You would hope so, Art. I don't think they do, though. I think once it invades their soul, they're bad for life, bad to the bone.
Maybe the older people that are resigning realize that, if I stay in this game, I'm going to become as evil as Ed Burke, and so I should drop out. And maybe that's what they're doing. But,
he doesn't see himself as evil. He's the hero in his own story, that he's the rich, successful alder person who did what he could for his community while enriching himself, not understanding and realizing that, in not watching out for everybody and only enriching himself, all the damage he was doing and all the lives he was hurting. the reason we
I'm
mock
sure that he's done.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm sure that he's done some good in his life. I'm sure that he's provided for his family and for countless of other people that he may have come across. But the thing is that, it's like, I mean, in order to make people happy, he probably had to crack some heads. He probably had to make some innocent people, he had to hurt some innocent people in order to make his friends who are rich more richer. I don't know. I'm
giving more money.
Yeah.
So his whole
yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I want to reference something specific because as we always mock him as Burger King Ed, he's accused of trying to steer real estate tax work to his law firm by holding up remodeling permits and a driveway permit for a Burger King in his Southwest Side ward. His back and forth with workers at the company was captured on tape by the feds, who also conducted physical surveillance and got help from the fast food company workers, according to the federal complaint. Burke famously ran for re-election in 2019, even while facing the federal corruption charges, and he won. Now, this is clearly small potatoes, or in this case, small French fries. But when you know that this is what he did to Burger King, to steer money to him from that corporation, this is like just the tip of the iceberg of all the different businesses that he steered business to throughout the city while supposedly supposed to serve the citizens of Chicago and just enrich himself on these relationships. For how many years was it? Since the 1960s?
1969.
Since 1969.
Yeah.
He was
which, by the way, was the year I was born, if you can believe that.
Yeah, I just said a long ass time. No offense, Art.
Or me.
I think we also need to keep in mind that, remember, they redrew all the wards.
Yeah.
Right. By the way, Miguel H., you still owe us a puzzle map. His ward got redrawn into a majority Hispanic ward, and so he basically, it's like he's handing the reins off, or at least he's trying to pass the torch to one of his guys to take over from him. But that guy has a challenger. I can't find the place in the Slack where I posted who they are, but I think maybe the story has them in there. There are two people running against each other for his ward right now. I wish I had it in front of me, but I can't find it.
While you look for that, I'll give a little bit more background. He was a long time successful real estate tax appeals lawyer. Burke for years maintained a lucrative outside business of filing property tax appeals for businesses, Chicago's wealthy, and other political insiders that often conflicted with his city council duties. The dual roles forced him to file a long economic interest disclosure list each year, including detailing which firms his law firm did business for and also had business before city government. Burke often abstained from committee and council votes because his firm represented businesses that could be affected by the outcome of the city council votes, even after presiding over committee hearings at which the issues were discussed. The dual roles, documented by news organizations and criticized by reformers for years, became the focus of federal investigators. And in 2019, Burke was indicted on corruption charges that allege he used his city hall clout to extort work for his law firm and other favors from companies. Okay, so we can assume that someone who does that sort of legal work for businesses and for the wealthy in the city, who is then also a legislator that actually impacts those clients of him, we can assume that anybody who's taking on dual roles like that is corrupted, right?
Of course. I mean, yeah. I mean,
that would be just a basic assumption, in my opinion. Like, I don't think someone who's a legislator should have the dual role of representing legally businesses and rich people and all of these folks who get impacted by his decisions as a legislator. How is that even allowed, right? Because I think the assumption ought to be, just like the assumption ought to be that, when, let's say, a corporation, and don't forget his wife, the judge, yes, of course, who's also retiring.
Yeah, they're both getting out. Well, the getting out's good before the. Yeah.
They're going to leave the country and never come back. That's what's going to happen.
We're going to take their passports away from them until
it's like these people who say, like these campaign contributions isn't just bribery, right? So if someone's going to contribute to your campaign, especially to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars, that's a bribe.
Of course it is.
Okay.
And they act like it's not. They act like it's not. It's just the cost of doing business. I know. It is gaslighting. And we're so used to it here. I went to California. I was out there for 11 years, and I didn't really realize how gaslit we were until I saw some level of accountability in California regarding corrupt officials. Looking back at Chicago, it's like, oh my God, we were gaslit and brainwashed that's just the way things happen. That's just the way things are.
Mm-hmm.
After decades.
Okay.
And decades
Here's the update. Raul Reyes is the one who he probably wants to take over his ward, but he is being challenged by Jailu B. Gutierrez.
All right, right on.
So that's a 14th ward race we'll have to keep an eye on. I think Jailu's the underdog there.
Well, I would say let's save our clown car update to the end of the show because one of our other guests has arrived. And I want to be able to, first of all, share with everybody that we are going to be in partnership now with the Patio Theater out on Irving Park Road and their monthly independent film screening series called Big Picture Chicago. And we have the information there. Is that mine or yours? Oh, I guess it is mine. For some reason, Yeah, that's my screen. Okay, so Big Picture Chicago is coming up. It's this Thursday. It's going to be the first Thursday of every month. Ongoing screenings at the Patio Theater. And with us this evening is not only one of the filmmakers, Art Medina, who joined us for the Ed Burke segment since he used to work for him. But we also have Mr. Ryan Jackson, who is the festival producer. Welcome, Ryan.
Hey, hi, good to see you guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We have Jerry Gonzalez, who's another filmmaker who's screened along with Arts.
Ooh.
Hi.
Hello. Jerry and Kira, I think this is the first time we've had this many people on the screen here on Chicago Corner.
I'm honored to be part of that.
We're breaking
I want to be Greg if I can be Greg. If anybody wants to be Peter and Bobby, that's fine.
It's the story.
Oh, this
of a
way.
lovely lady. Oh, this way.
I'm over here. Jeez.
Yeah. Sorry. And the four knuckleheads joining her. Anyway, let's go. So I want to share. I had the opportunity to meet Ryan, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, when Mark Goals over at the Patio Theater contacted me regarding the Big Picture Chicago screenings every month because they wanted to spotlight Solstice for the holidays. And that ended up rolling off into its own thing with our Chicago Corner big holiday event to also raise food, canned food and toys at the end of the month. But I got a chance to meet with Ryan and find out what Big Picture Chicago was about the rest of the month, the first Thursday of the month. So Ryan, why don't you share with us how you conceived of this and how you partnered with the Patio Theater to basically create a showcase for indie filmmakers who really don't have much of an opportunity to share their work with audiences that don't even know where to discover up and coming emerging talent.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm actually a resident of the neighborhood that the Patio Theater is in. But before I lived there, like several years ago, there was a 24-hour horror film festival that I had a short film in, and it screened at the Portage Theater and then later at another festival, the Patio Theater. And so that experience for me as somebody who has often made stuff and released it online was really cool. And that kind of stuck with me. Flash forward to like 2020, I was coaching a team at the IO Comedy Theater for their video network. And we were making a couple of shorts a month with a group of writers and performers there at the theater. And there were other teams that were part of this comedy network. And so the idea occurred to me, like, we're releasing all of this stuff online. You know, you get your reactions, people see it, you comment, which is great. But what would the experience be like to see all this stuff on a big screen and to bring everybody out for it? And so there wasn't much going on at the patio at the time. They were like in between, I think, like trying to do more film stuff and doing more concert series and everything. So basically, I cold called the people who ran the theater and kind of pitched the show for them. And we met and they liked the idea. And so we had it set for April 1st, 2020. Obviously the joke was on us. That show did not happen.
What happened then? What happened in April 1st, 2020?
Well, let me tell you. And so actually back then the show wasn't even called Big Picture Chicago. It was called Big Picture Comedy because it was going to specifically be all of these like teams that from IO and then other, because I had also worked with other like sketch teams and stuff in the city. So it was going to be, you know, I was going to try to get people to do all of that. Well, obviously the pandemic happened, the theater shut down, you know, IO closed, the network shut down. So all of those teams kind of disbanded and people like moved off and things like that. I think it was like the summer of 2021 that I reached back out to the patio theater, the contacts that I had there, and kind of repitched them this show. And I was like, hey, you know, the theaters they just shown like Tenet, I think in July had come out. And so it's kind of like, I don't know if movie theaters are going to still be in, you know, operation or if people are even going to come to it, but let's try to do something for the fall for Halloween. And so we did, that was the first Big Picture Chicago show. And it was actually a double feature. We showed like two rerun horror films and then we put the indies in the middle. Well, we got like a pretty good reaction from it, and everybody was happy with it. And the filmmakers who had shorts in the show were just kind of blown away by the experience, just like I was. So the theater had the idea to just do the show without attaching it to other movies, and we've been doing that kind of ever since then. And actually, one correction: it is the first Thursday this month, but usually it's the last Thursday of the month just because of Thanksgiving. It was the November show is actually December 1st this month. But we're going to be having a show December 29th as well, which is going to be our big end of the year show. There's going to be a party. It's hopefully going to be something really cool. But this December 1st show, this Thursday, is going to be very cool. And so anyway, Jerry has a short in the show, which is fantastic. And he had one in our October show, which was also fantastic. And Art as well has his film noir that's going to be playing, which is very cool. I'm really excited for it. And that was a really long-winded answer to your question there. Sorry.
No, not at all. I think it's great that we got some background on how the program, the showcase evolved. Jerry, I want to ask you, how did you discover Big Picture Chicago to start submitting your work? Because I know it's, as an independent filmmaker myself, it's very, very hard to find a big screen venue because normally they want you to rent the place and you can't afford it. And it costs a lot of money. And especially if you've done short films, it's completely economically impractical. So showcases like this are perfect where they're seeking the work of independent filmmakers to share with new audiences to discover them. So how did you come across Ryan and the program there over at the patio?
So funny story. So the film that I showed there was called There's Something in the Woods. And I finished that December 2019. So when it got released, its festival run was entirely virtual. And I didn't get a chance to see it on any big screens. And I was just scrolling through Facebook one day, and I saw that there was this Big Picture Chicago show going on at the patio. And I was like, oh, that's great. I actually grew up really close to the patio, and I have a lot of memories with it. So this is an amazing experience to actually have it shown there.
Now I'm trying to pull up. We actually have a trailer for both Jerry and Art's films, and for whatever reason, I'm seeing a. Let's see if I can bring this one up because I'm seeing a browser issue. But let me try one more time before I restart my browser while you guys continue with the show. It's telling me there's an issue connecting to my stream. try restarting my. Okay, so guys, I'm going to check out really quickly and restart my browser and come back in because I have the two trailers on this end. Ed and Kira, if you want to continue with our filmmakers, I'll be back in a moment.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So
if I can actually,
go ahead.
Yeah, yes, I'm sorry. Actually, I wanted to say something to Ryan. Ryan, it's kind of cool that you picked a patio theater. I remember taking a date to see Annie Hall there, and it was like when they showed Annie Hall like 20 years after it was released. So trust me, I'm well aware of what the patio in terms of having history in Chicago is like. But I also saw one of the very last comedy concerts, which was Creeps for Kids, and it was with Ron Bennington and I think I forget who the other comedians were, but it was like one of the very last good nights before the epidemic. If you can repeat, I mean before the pandemic. I mean, I apologize.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that theater. Like I said, I went there originally. They had like a 24-hour horror film festival. It's done by a collective called Terror in the Aisles, and they're showing every Halloween. They would show like horror movies all day and night. And so that was my first experience with the patio theater. Is basically like sleeping there, waking up there. There's movies still going on, and it's such a cool like old movie house with a lot of history. I think they said it's going to be 100 years old, or what turned 100 years old maybe in 2021 last year, or it's going to be in 2 years. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But it's been around forever. And I personally love movie theaters, and I love going to movie theaters. And as much as I love like streaming and Netflix and all of those like modern conveniences and stuff, like I miss wandering around like, the video store and stuff and discovering stuff back there. So that kind of thing, the video store I feel like has kind of disappeared. Movie theaters seem like at that kind of space where that could happen, and exacerbated also by the pandemic. And so like anything to get people out to the theater again, I think is great. And so that's why I'm really happy that we're able to do this at the patio, and that they let us host this every month, because it's a beautiful space, and like filmmakers getting to see their work, which usually, like Jerry said, this was released online. I've had that experience dozens of times,
It's not
totally, totally different. Yeah. Totally different than being able to see it like on a big screen, like the movies you've seen with the sound system. The patio just upgraded their sound system like a month or two ago. So the last show that we had there sounded fantastic. And this one that's coming up this Thursday is going to sound fantastic as well.
I have to say too, I could not stand watching my film on a small screen anymore, just because it was an old movie, but it's a small screen. And when I restored it and showed it for its 25th anniversary, I was like, I forgot how much work we all put into it and how it was designed and composed for a big screen, because that was the experience I wanted for it, as all filmmakers want. And it's a much, much richer shared experience with other people.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I have Jerry's trailer, Jerry Squared, ready to show. Intergalactic Pizza Boy.
Yep.
All right, this is an example of the fine indie short programming you will see this week at Big Picture Chicago. I just hope the sound works. Let's try this.
Yo, Tony, I'm gonna take my 15-minute break, okay?
I would say, as a pizza enthusiast, this guy down here in this corner might have something to share about. That was brilliant. I wouldn't even know where to start, Jerry.
The only thing missing from that is a big movie announcer voice going, Intergalactic Pizza Boy.
If I can tell Jerry something,
That's just the
If I
trailer.
can tell Jerry G something,
Might be in there.
that trailer reminded me so much of Dark Star and Repo Man. I don't know if
Yeah.
you're a fan of either one of those
I
movies.
love
but-
Repo Man. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the musical one, or is there another?
No, Repo Man is a movie with Emilio Estevez and Harry Dean Stanton. It was directed by Alex Cox. It's a movie that I think it's going to strike a chord with you if you haven't seen it, because I think that it's very similar to what you just made.
Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
you're-
I'll definitely check it out.
Jerry, you'll vibe with that for sure.
Yeah, it
I
feels
think.
a little like a Spaceballs sequel, and I'm digging that.
Kind of, right?
How long is Intergalactic Pizza Boy?
I think I just got it down to 8 minutes. It was originally 9 minutes, but the credits were so long, so had to chop it down
Very
a bit.
imaginative and creative, and all produced here in Chicago.
Oh yeah. Oh no, actually,
Yeah.
space.
Where did you
That
find
is- Jerry, Ryan, if I can just go ahead and say something, we all know, and Jerry, obviously you know this too, that how difficult it is to actually film anything, and essentially even getting it to 8 minutes is something of a miracle, because you still spend almost exactly the same amount of time as you would making a production that will last 90 minutes. 8 minutes is a struggle as much as 90 minutes can be. So kudos to you for making a movie that is 8 minutes long, dude.
Yeah, thank you so
Well,
much.
Jerry G, I would love to say really quick, I love the special effects work that you did in this short and the previous short that we showed. Really fantastic, imaginative stuff. Very creative, and I'm so excited to be able to show your short and your short as well, and to have animation and these great special effects, absurdist sci-fi things there on the big screen. I think it's going to look great. Anyway, I really like your stuff.
Jerry G's movie is 8 minutes. Art Medina's film, although it qualifies as a short, it is how long, Art?
It runs just a little under 55 minutes,
okay,
and it's fully animated.
Fully animated. So let's watch Art's trailer and imagine the amount of man hours that went into this. Now, I forgot how long the trailer is, but imagine, what did you say, 48 minutes?
No, 55 minutes.
55 minutes. Here we go. A Cold Farewell, written, directed, and animated by Art.
That's all hand-drawn animation, by the way, by Lucas Roll.
My work deals with this sort of suspicions all the time. Believe me, these things do happen.
Who are you?
My name is Rick Stancer. I'm an old friend of your husband. I'm a private investigator.
You know Jeremiah?
Jeremiah hired me to spy on you, but now I'm thinking you really wanted me to protect you.
I sort of need a favor. It's my wife.
You're married. Congratulations.
Marriage is not all wine and roses. I think she's seeing someone else.
What would you want me to do?
I thought that maybe you could follow her.
Follow her and see if she meets anyone you might know.
Yeah, you get it.
Мы служим народу, стране. Ты не особенная, не лучше всех. Предай отечество, сука, мы твой род сгноим.
What's your wife's name?
Oh yeah, it's Tatiana.
Tatiana. Is that a Russian name?
I love my husband, Mr. Stancer. I'd do anything for him.
That shouldn't mean getting yourself killed for your husband's mistakes.
Hey, Matt, you got a light?
And who might you be?
I am Alfred Green. And of course, you know who I am, Mr. Stancer.
Perhaps it's better if we talk to the police.
What are you into now, Rick?
Nothing yet. I need your help with something.
Of course you do. You should have stayed a cop so you'd stop bothering me all the time.
Do you know where he is?
You said you are a private investigator. You can protect me.
He thinks his wife is fooling around?
That's what he thinks.
What kind of woman would do that to a war hero?
I don't know.
I'm a man who doesn't like making appointments with men sticking their noses into my business, especially private detectives without clients.
It's too dangerous, even for you.
Sit down, Mr. Stancer.
Call me Rick.
Bye, Rick.
So I apologize for the buffering issues, Art. I noticed that it was staggering there a little bit, but can we please stop calling Chicago the second city when it comes to talent and creativity and brilliance? I mean, both Jerry G's and Art's movies, I'm just like, we're talking about West Coast production values. And by the way, as a supporter of Art, I put his film in several film festivals on Film Freeway because my friend Art is very humble and doesn't really always believe in his talents as much as he should. And how many awards have you won now for this film, Art?
Yeah, we're up to, well, it's kind of cool because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5, and we're still in the running with 2 other film festivals. But we in the Cinemagic Film Festival, A Cold Farewell won for Best Screenplay and Best Animated Film. For the Los Angeles Film Awards, we won Best Film Noir. And for the Los Angeles Independent Film Festival, we won for Best Director of an Animated Feature and for Best Original Musical Score, which is part of the the music is original music by one of our friends by the name of Michael Cabrera, who actually did the whole music in just under a week, if you can believe it. So it's a brilliant response to the film, and it's all due to Jerry, who actually
what are you talking about all due to me? You're the one who made the movie, dude. Come on. I'm so proud of my
all I was going to do, you don't understand.
Right, zip it. Another award came in the other day that I let him know about, and I'm like, Art, you got another one to add to the roster. Jerry G, have you had an opportunity to submit yours to film festivals? Are you exploring that? Because clearly the quality of yours is at a similar level to start getting some attention outside of the screenings here in Chicago.
Well, thank you very much for that. So it's starting its run right now. It's been in 2 festivals this month, actually. So this is actually, this is December. So, but yeah, 2 festivals. So I was at the Real Shorts Chicago Festival, and then it was at Days of the Dead. And it's also going to be at Days of the Dead Atlanta. So.
Jerry, are you familiar with Film Freeway?
Yeah, that's
okay, good. Just in case you didn't know about it, I was going to say that's where filmmakers need to go. And basically, it's a search engine by which you can find festivals that would probably be receptive or responsive to the type of film you're making. I mean, I was submitting my Christmas movie, and I was looking for holiday Christmas film festivals. With Art, I'm like, I know there are festivals that cater specifically. They want to find film noir. They want to find animated. So filmmakers can really find their specific targeted audience by using Film Freeway and garnering the awards and accolades that they clearly deserve and have earned, to add that extra little level of, I don't know, what are they, credibility that they really don't need from other people. But, you know, in our modern day and age, nobody looks at things unless you've won an award. I mean, Art's film did not have to win any awards for me to see it when you screened it at the Logan last year. And I'm just like, the writing alone, the screenplay, I'm hopefully going to team up with Art on writing something together, because he's a really brilliant writer. You're both great.
And if I can mention something, but Jerry Vasilatos, who I've been friends for the last 20 years, he actually helped me because I needed him as one of the voice actors in the film. And he played a role. So if anybody goes and sees the movie this Thursday, you can definitely sit down and enjoy the voice of Jerry Vasilatos as one of the best friends of the protagonist of my film.
And you know, how was it? We were doing that voiceover session. I'm like, what do you want from me? Because I don't act. And it went from, I was like, should I do something kind of serious? Like, I don't know, Daniel J. Travanti on Hill Street Blues, the police captain. And then somehow we came around to Ernest Borgnine, right? A character.
Actually,
So I'll start doing it
yeah.
like Ernest Borgnine.
I said that. Can you talk like Ernest Borgnine? And you ended up talking like a combination of Jackie Gleason and Artie Lang, and it was brilliant.
It was Jackie Gleason and Ernest Borgnine. Anyway, it was a lot of fun to work on, and I'm glad you're going to get an opportunity to share it again. I'm going to be there to also see Jerry G's full movie along with all the other films that are screening. Ryan, how many other films are programmed?
I really can't wait to see Jerry G's, by the way. I really cannot
I
wait
can't
to
wait to
see
see
his
yours.
movie. Oh, thank you.
It's beyond impressive. How long did that take you?
It was actually, believe it or not, I started it at the start of the pandemic, and I finished it at I'll tell you exactly when I officially finished it. January 6, 2021, which was, a date that will almost live in infamy because of, yeah, exactly. That was one of those days where I was like, the world was falling apart in front of my television set, and I had literally just locked film. It was great.
And so wait, you finished it right before, or like it started going and you were like, it's time to get this done?
And no, like literally the last bit of animation, the very last bit of editing before the film score and the sound effects was when January 6th was happening. I was watching the Capitol, the riots happening, the riot of the Capitol happening.
So
that's memorable.
Kira and Ed,
definitely.
Kira and Ed probably know how much I love to do a hashtag Jerry was right. But in this case, when Art first pitched me, he wanted to do this. He pitched the story to me, and he said he wanted to do it animated. I'm like, you're out of your mind. Why don't you just do it as a live action? Because it would be a great live action film noir. Because I knew how tedious and crazy it was going to be to hand draw that stuff, scan it. Because honestly, Art, it was no reflection on you, but I just thought you were going to drive yourself crazy and you'd be so overwhelmed by the amount of work that went into it. It'd be difficult to finish. And you know what? This time, hashtag Jerry was wrong.
Yeah.
It turned out better than I ever could have imagined. I mean, I was really sold on the story originally. I loved the story, but I'm like, and I even kind of selfishly said, why don't you just produce this as a live action and let me direct it? Because I was like, it's a great story. And I recognize the value in it. And I was really pleased to see you see it through. And it works even better as an animation because it's got that like style to it that someone in the live chat said it kind of has a Dick Tracy vibe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And when you saw it, you kind of like told me that it had a little bit of the pre-visualization storyboards that directors sometimes produce so that they can show their cinematographers or the actors what the movie's going to look like. So it's kind of got that like motion type of style to it.
Yeah.
But it was just my love letter to old movies that I used to watch growing up, and a love letter to the city of Chicago because the movie is set in Chicago of 1955. I did a little bit of research, and when I was working for City Hall, I would go and talk to the real historians who worked in City Hall, and they would tell me some interesting stories about how the city used to be in the 1950s. It was kind of like one of the things that was worth about working in City Hall.
Mm-hmm. Jerry G, what inspired Intergalactic Pizza Boy? Did you ever work as a pizza delivery driver? How did that come together?
So, big confession, I never worked anywhere in the restaurant industry. I did work at Mariano's, so I did take a lot of that experience, like dealing with just, Karens and just annoying people into the Pizza Boy, and just kind of map that over like this sci-fi landscape.
Yeah. How long have you guys all been filmmakers?
Too long.
And how many films have you all made?
Too long.
I've been like making films here in Chicago since, well, I went through the writing program at Second City in like 2007, 2008, and then I was working for a website after that. And that was actually, I mean, I made films like as a kid and stuff with cameras, like my parents' cameras and like with my friends and things like that. But starting from there, so probably however many years ago that was, 12 years ago. And I've never made a feature length anything. And Art, I'm impressed by the 55 minutes, and that you were able to do that in under a year is actually amazing to me. I love the visual aesthetic of the film noir, by the way, and like to
Thank you.
animate that in that black and white as well is, I think, visually it looks great. I think it's going to look great on the big screen.
You want to talk about
Actually, I wanted to ask something to Jerry G. So did you also do the makeup effects? Because I mean, I just saw an alien in your trailer, and all I can think about is like, I can't even put a shirt on. So how could you have built an alien, that you have interacting with the pizza delivery protagonist in your feature? And I'm thinking, I mean, you had to draw it, you had to build it, you had to get an actor and then have him wear it. I mean, let's face it, that's incredible filmmaking in its own right. Just the fact that you went that far to make your movie. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I'm just a big fan of like old school practical effects, and I'm also a big fan of like the new age visual effects. So I do like that marriage between the two. So it's always important to me when I like make films. I make puppets so the actors can actually have something to act against, and it's not just like a tennis ball.
Oh.
Yeah.
This was a really fun project.
Jerry, what came first for you, the puppets or the filmmaking? Were you like making puppets? Because I know your other short had puppets in it as well, and was like a mix of that kind of like old school practical effects and like modern, CGI like overlays and stuff like that. A fun combination, a fun visual combination, by the way. So was the puppetry like, did that predate it, or is that like kind of a simultaneous thing that you got into?
Yeah, very simultaneous. So I started like making movies at 4. I had like my family's like camcorder, and I would just run around and shoot things. And just growing up, I like in high school we did sketches, and I was always cosplaying and like making costumes and making puppets. And yeah, it's just been growth. And then I graduated from Columbia. So,
Great. Columbia's the best. Isn't Jerry Vasilatos a Columbia graduate? I don't know. Yeah, there you go.
I am. Yep.
Do you guys find that there's a creative advantage to making films in Chicago versus, say, a place like the West Coast? Because I've become very disenchanted with films as of late, because they're all just like the same old movie that came out when I was a kid in the 80s and 90s. And seeing these two examples of fresh films that are very original feels very different than what I've been seeing in trailers and stuff on television that are coming out of a place like Hollywood. So is there a creative advantage to making films in Chicago or anywhere other than Hollywood?
I think so. I mean, with Hollywood, I mean, it's just they're doing whatever just worked before. While when you have that indie budget, you're just allowed to just make whatever and just keep throwing things at a wall and see what sticks.
Mm-hmm.
I've also found that Chicago, like in terms of finding talent and stuff to work with, there's a lot of people who come to Chicago to like learn their craft. We have a bit of like a talent drain to the East and West Coasts, where it's like I've had so many. And I think, Jerry, we were talking about this when we met the other day. I've had so many like collaborators and people that I've worked with over the years who have either like gone to LA or gone to New York, and it's like there's always people who are leaving, but there's always people who are coming in too. And when people are here, they want to like kind of hone their craft and experiment and stuff. So finding collaborators, like it's a really rich city of talent. Okay, there's a lot of like raw talent here. That I think is definitely undermined. So for that reason, I think that Chicago's a fantastic place to make stuff, especially independent stuff, because, you can find so much talent in the city.
I would agree. It's just hard finding money if you're not wealthy on your own. But then that also helps, push you into creativity, the challenges of how can you I mean, I haven't made a film for a while because it's like my ambitions are a little bit larger than I can afford. The only thing I think lacking here in Chicago, it's not the talent, it's finding the bridge between the artists and commerce, finding those that will let you be creative while you use their money and trust you so that you can, produce something that will give them a return on investment, so long as they know that you're actually, you know what you're doing as a filmmaker. Too often I find as a filmmaker that you're dealing with people who you appreciate the fact they've got the financing and the money, but that's all they know. When they start telling you how to make your movie, it's like, and they want to put it in directions that are ridiculous. They're not trusting you to do what you know how to do, because I would certainly never tell them how to invest their money or what they should do with it. Everybody's got to kind of know their strengths and liabilities and rely on partnering with people to balance out everybody's strengths so you can come together in partnership and for success. And I only wish that more people on the business and commerce side of things would recognize that in us creatives, that we do know what we're doing without, interfering with the artistic process or producing something that, we believe in, as is shown in the examples of Art and Jerry G's films. When we saw Art's first screening for Cold Farewell, given the short attention span people have, there was someone at that screening who was telling Art, now you got to do a shortcut because it's too long to, put it in festival. And I took Art aside and I said, do not pay any fucking attention to what that person told you. I know he's well-intentioned. This was your vision. You leave it the way it was because it will find its audience. And it did. But that's an example of other people, thinking they know better than the artist. And it's like, no, Art did a fine job to begin with. And the proof is there now with all of the accolades he's getting from these different festivals.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that it's a little bit of the frustration side too, because I think that we're all, closeted dancers. Some of us are closeted singers. And the thing is that I was a closeted filmmaker, and when I became friends with Jerry Vasilatos, he was a guy who I met. He said he's a filmmaker, and I was a film fan, and I thought that I knew a lot about movies, but when I met Jerry, and turns out that Jerry knew more about movies, and I suddenly realized, holy cow.
Yeah, but you know what? I've discovered when we talk about movies, Art knows about movies that I don't. Art is the cinema enthusiast that I'm not. I might be good on the technical, but I've always been in awe, Art, at your film scholarship, which I think is what really nurtured our friendship. So this is about you guys. Sure. Thank you. But I'm just excited to provide a forum to showcase your work and really invite everybody watching. Please come out. Theater and
Thursday night. Please come out, see Jerry, see Art's work, and come see it on a big screen. I'm really excited that you guys are going to be able to show these, and that hopefully we'll get even more people from the city coming out. Each month, it seems to be getting bigger and bigger.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah.
And so, as people experience it, I think, hopefully they're going to tell more people and more of their filmmaker friends. So I really want to facilitate that experience of seeing your work on the big screen, especially in this day and age where it's we're usually just seeing it on a phone, and that's a big picture Chicago. That's why we call it that. So come out, guys. Yeah.
I'll subclip this segment, Ryan, so that you guys can run it tomorrow. And Aviance, if you're watching, I see you're in the live chat. I'm also going to subclip the Focus Fairies segment so you guys can use it separately for your fundraising efforts. And Ryan, if you want to circulate this, as its own segment tomorrow on Facebook, social media, get more people out to the screening. We're going to have Ryan back the last Tuesday of every month with the filmmakers that will be screening at the first Thursday of the months into the next year, hopefully, and beyond.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Last Thursday of the month. The show. We'll be together the last Tuesday of the month, and then the show is going to be the last Thursday of the month. Sorry. It's just a little mix up because of this week or last week being Thanksgiving or whatever. But our next show after this, again, we're going to have one on December 29th. So hopefully I'll be back whatever date that is, the 27th, to talk with you guys again. And that's going to be a big end of the year party. Hopefully we're going to get a lot of the filmmakers who we've had in the show this year to come out for that. And
Ryan, we hope you tell all of your filmmakers at their screenings to come join us at our Chicago Corner holiday get-together, where we will be showing 2 Christmas movies and encouraging everybody to bring canned food and toys for the underprivileged across the city of Chicago. It's going to be our big fundraiser. Help us, help others. And we hope that we can attract a lot of audiences from the Big Picture Chicago, as well as the Patios audience, as well as those watching the show here in the comments. Let's use cinema to do some good.
Fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. I will see you all Thursday to make that show. Jerry G, Art M, and Ryan J. thank you for joining us tonight, and we will see you soon. And again, everybody, please make sure to mark your calendars. Head out to the Patio Theater.
Cheers.
It's up there. It's at 6008 West Irving Park Avenue this Thursday, December 1st at 7:00 p.m. Good night, gentlemen. All right. How about that? We finally have like a cultural showcase going on for Chicago.
I know. I didn't even need to get a word in edgewise today. There's so many people who had lovely things to say.
For sure. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, and I since you mentioned it, Jerry, we should probably run that little promo doohickey, huh?
Why not? Why don't we share with everybody to mark their calendars for our big event? Partnership with the Chicagoland Toy Drive. We are waiting on confirmation from Greater Chicago Food Bank, but you know what? We can collect canned food for them anyway without them approving it or doing the official branding. So I'm just going to say that now. We're going to be collecting canned and dried food for the Greater Chicago Food Depository, which we will deliver. You bring a toy, you bring canned food or dry food, you will get half off the admission to Solstice and Home Alone. It's a double feature. There will be a Christmas Carol sing-along before the program as performed by, oh my goodness, Dennis, Jay Warren, I'm sorry, Jay Warren on the Patio Theater's organ. And we will be live streaming Chicago Corner at 5:30 p.m., accepting all of the donations before we go in for the neighborhood community event. So we hope you all mark your calendars and will join us and make sure to bring food and toys. I see like a frowny face in our
I think someone was reacting on Facebook to something that folks were talking about. It came up when you mentioned that somebody had pulled Art aside and said to.
Oh, okay.
That's when it popped up. I was like, oh, cool. Someone's watching on Facebook. Neat.
That's good to know. They're not disapproving of the content. They're just they're in support of art.
Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
Awesome.
Exactly. So yeah, that I noticed it pop up when that was going on. So. Very cool. And then I just wanted to mention, because I want to make it a quick like story zero, because we want to cover measuring sticks and whatnot. We had the idea to have a donation drive for the newly arriving immigrants into Chicago, because we reported just a couple weeks ago that the immigrants who are being like 3,600 of them basically bust here from Texas, like don't even have winter coats right now to be able to venture outside. And so, I said like, hey, why don't we do a drive to maybe get those folks the things they need to survive a Chicago winter, right? And Jerry looked into that. And Jerry, you can tell the story if you want.
Well, we've covered it last show. I went to the City of Chicago's website. There are no drop-off locations. They want us to donate. They want us to buy shit through Amazon that Jeff Bezos will then take a cut of, and the City of Chicago will get a referral fee for the list of stuff that they've got up there that they want us to buy and pay for so that they can presumably deliver it. Now, I'm not going to assume that they're not going to deliver the stuff that people buy on Amazon, but how fucking – this is it's no priority, right? They have priorities. We talked about this the other day, hassling people who've got grandfathered signage on their bars because they don't have the proper licensing in place. But to prioritize city services, they don't know how to prioritize, or they don't have the manpower to prioritize having drop-off points. Every alder person in every ward in their office should say, bring your stuff here, and will make sure that it will go to a central drop-off location point to go to all these migrants that Lori Lightfoot is pandering and welcoming. And of course, it ain't happening because they're just – it's not a priority. It's not a priority. It should be very simple, and it's not. So yeah, we wanted to do that, but it's like if we collect stuff for migrants who've arrived in Chicago, how do we get it to them since the city is not providing any infrastructure to facilitate that?
crazy. It was crazy to me. So I just wanted to point that out before we get into meatier stories here. So do we want to pop into it? We have 10 minutes left of the show. Do we want to talk about the clown car that is our mayoral election? Woo!
Oh, yes, we do. And by the way, I'm trying really hard not to do any drop-ins because I don't want this show to get copyright struck for people to watch it in this couple days. So let's just go to the clown car without
just go to the clown car.
I was going to run Lori's merch ad, but I'm like, every time I run that, I got to appeal a copyright strike because she uses the music to sell her merch and we can't comment on it and laugh at it.
Yep. So we have, so how many people? I think that we have like a whole array of photos of these folks. There's 1, 2, 3, 4.
What did I do with that photo?
I closed my browser windows. Oh, you're talking about who are still in the race?
Who's in the race right
now?
now?
I got it. Here we go. Let me put it up there.
10, 11 folks.
I can present it. Here we go. Here's who's left.
Yeah. Cool. And then, and this candidate list could change still at this point, just so you know.
Let's put that in the stream so they can see it.
Perfect.
I thought it was.
Oh, 2 people on controls, folks. Dude, that's why I keep hands off.
All right, I'm hands off.
All right, that was just hands off to defer to you. There you go.
All right. So this candidate list could change because a political opponent could challenge it's the clown car that is Chicago Corner over here right now. Opponents could challenge the validity of the petition still, and basically the Board of Elections is aiming to certify the ballot near the end of December. You know what's disappointing about this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I got the number 11 because there are the WBEZ article that I pulled my information from.
Outdated already?
Okay, so one guy that I had not heard of named Johnny.
Oh, we saw those. Yeah, we saw a couple of those candidates. Yeah. No names. They were probably Republicans.
A Facebook. Well, what's so funny about, okay, so you guys check out the WBEZ article. I think it's a really well done, robust article with all of the candidates that are running. And every candidate has like their campaign website, like next to their like picture, their very professional picture or whatever. And then Johnny Logobo just has like a picture of him at like, I think the petition drop off. And it just says, and it highlights it so you can click on this, but a Facebook page promoting Johnny Logobo for mayor states he would bring the focus more on God, the people, and love.
Okay.
A campaign website linked to his Facebook page did not work at the time of filing. So
what a surprise.
I'm guessing that he probably doesn't have a chance. But I'm wondering who the 11th person is that I just counted that is not listed. I could have also miscounted because I'm counting based on.
Well, it might have been an old one that still had Catanzara on there.
Yeah.
Oh, and then there's that other guy whose name I can't remember.
Yeah, it wasn't that. I could have miscounted though.
Vote for me, the guy whose name you can't remember.
Yeah, exactly. So much for name recognition, right? So these are our candidates. And just reading through a quick description of each of the candidates is pretty enlightening. Yeah, let's take a look at these measuring sticks here. So this is the petition filing where Lori Lightfoot purported to have 40,000 signatures. But apparently where that guy is holding that ruler stick is where what 40,000 signatures is supposed to look like.
Yep.
So I do like Lori's face there though.
Yeah, so I mean, if we're using the hand for the measuring stick, we're thinking, what do you think, about 25,000 signatures, maybe, Jerry?
Yeah, at least
something like that.
And then do Do we have the side-by-side? Did we end up finding that before the show?
I don't think we do.
There was an image of Brandon Johnson's petition stack, which was taller than Lori Lightfoot's petition stack.
Excuse me.
About measuring contest.
I'm sorry, but the size of the stack doesn't really matter. I just happen to have a lot of supporters whose signatures can be super tiny. We could fit so many more on one sheet of paper. So that's why my 40,000 is are you guys buying this? No.
Duh. We still believe that you have the bigger dick. No worries.
I like that tweet. That's what they should have named her personal street.
I'm full of shit. Drive.
We're
Look at
getting such
me.
better at the comedic timing there, Jerry. That was
I've been
perfect.
working on it.
And then Garcia claims to have gotten 50,000 signatures, except he only started collecting them like 3 weeks ago. Is that a thing?
Yeah. Well, no, they started collecting Chuy Garcia's signatures before he even entered the race. Which, I would say when you're able to collect.
Oh, that's creepy. He's doing like a Biden thing to himself.
When you're get that up. When the thing is, as far as like him having more than enough signatures by the time it came to filing.
Hanky. What does that mean?
Because they started collecting the signatures before he even announced. But it's really 50,000.
Are they allowed to do that?
Apparently so.
I don't know what the rules are. They're allowed. Maybe they're allowed to collect signatures before they actually announce.
But it's clear he was going to announce. He just didn't want to officially do it while he had his machine working behind the scenes to collect the signatures. So when he announced late in the game, he could come out and steamroll Lightfoot. I mean, interestingly enough, the two of them waited to drop off their petitions late. I don't know what, because they thought that the limelight would be stolen by all the other candidates who actually filed on time. And actually filed some pretty significant, impressive numbers, given the fact that, they're not really well-known names, although they should be. I mean, we used to comment on the fact that Brandon Johnson wasn't really that well-known, but he got 40,000 signatures. Not a lot of people were paying attention to or knew who Jamal was, but I think he got around 30,000 or more.
Yeah, 30,000.
Cramp.
Which I was really impressed by because, I mean, that's one hell of a ground game right there.
Absolutely. With no major financing behind him.
That's right.
I mean, that's a candidate who's not, supported by big money like Chuy or Lightfoot are. I mean, they can talk all they want about the money that they're raising, or Willie Wilson, who loans the money to himself. Jamal Green got, I think the amount of signatures required was 12,500. And of course, everybody wants to get at least double that in case their petitions are challenged. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah,
that's the next thing.
Go ahead, Ed.
That's the next thing I want see if we can pay attention to, is to see how many of these are getting challenged and when. I mean, how long do they have to challenge those things?
Till the end of December, I think, is when they're doing the final, basically like saying like, okay, here's who's in, here's who's not in. I don't know like how long the challenges go to, but basically what the WBEZ article said is that they'll have time to change their mind and withdraw from the race altogether, but the Board of Elections aims to certify the ballot near the end of December.
Okay.
So,
now, interestingly enough, Kit had sent me a Lori Lightfoot text message that came the day before, I think on Sunday, and it was her appealing her supporters to go out and collect more petition signatures for her. This was on Sunday night. I'm trying to find the graphic, but I can't. But I'm telling you, Kit sent me this. It was one of the emails. And I'm not getting emails from Lori Lightfoot's campaign anymore. Probably because of that phone call I reported on several broadcasts back where I said, I don't know how I got on your list, but no, I didn't do this and I didn't commit to that. And I'm really disappointed, especially with, I forgot what topic of the day it was, but the guy on the phone didn't even argue with me to offer any kind of excuse or misdirect. He's just like, okay, thank you. Because I think at that point, her campaign volunteers know there's no arguing with those of us who are paying attention.
Yeah, well, also I've done plenty of phone banking personally, and canvassing door to door. And most canvassers, most volunteers in phone banking aren't really there to sway anybody. They're there to basically get volunteers. They're basically there to get volunteers out. They're not there to get into a debate.
Try to sway your opinion. Okay, well then, fair enough.
Yep. So if someone says like, no, I'm really angry about this, that, and the other, most of the time they're trained to just say like, okay, well, sorry, I'm not even like sorry about your grievances, but okay, yeah, thanks, have a good day.
They're trying to just gain as many people as they can. I guess they've got a limited amount of time with which to find.
They got to churn through folks. Yeah, that definitely.
Volume and repetition, like all marketing.
100%. It's all about the numbers, my friend. So yeah, but I did think that the article that is in our show notes is really a great article. It links to all kinds of platforms, campaign sites of each one of the candidates. So when y'all are ready to educate yourself on each of the candidates, go ahead and check it out. I was actually really impressed with Jamal. Jamal has I think the most visionary of all of the platforms, which is really exciting. And I think that we definitely need some big vision right now.
And the charisma
for Chicago. Rather.
He's got the charisma. Dare I say, he has the charisma that's needed, like another progressive and forward-thinking mayor that unfortunately was with us for too short a time. And yes, Jerry is talking about me, former Mayor Harold Washington. Now, related, I wanted to share this real quickly because we talked about this with all the public land being given away. Oh, that's why Lori Lightfoot was so adamantly pushing a sweetheart deal, giving away public land away to the billionaire owner of the Chicago Fire. So he would donate $25,000 to her floundering reelection campaign.
Yep. Absolutely. Back to my comment before, like when someone's donating to your campaign to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars, that's called bribery. So,
oh, hang on a second.
I knew it! Oh!
I knew something was hinky about that.
Indeed.
What a nice comment. Love that you care about your city. Wish we had an LA corner here. Hey, Steve, get a StreamYard account and make it happen. You have the power to, if you're that passionate about what's happening in LA, and unfortunately you're in young turds country, you can make a difference and attract the people that are actually focused on what's really pressing to every Angelinos and do a LA corner.
Yeah, and absolutely. There's a lot of activists out in LA too. You got to find them because I'll bet a lot of them will want to help you with that.
Yep.
For sure. And then Aviance was asking, where's this info, Kira? I don't know if it's in the updated show notes quite yet, but it is a WBEZ article that I got all of this information from on each of the candidates. WBEZ.org stories.
The issue is when I created the show thumbnail yesterday, I had to create a Google show notes to include with it. And we have the old Google show notes in there, not the ones that Kira created today, because I didn't carry that over. I didn't know we were going to revise it. So, Aviance, we will update. I got to go into YouTube after the show to correct it.
Yeah, we'll have to consolidate everything into one document, and we'll update that.
Indeed, so that everybody can find it. And then, of course, as we get closer to the municipal elections, we'll be covering each of the candidates, who they are, what they stand for, and start getting in depth with them, and hopefully with some of the aldermanic races as well. So, but it is 9:34. Is there anything else you guys want to be sure to mention before we close the show for the evening?
Oh, yeah. Well, there is one thing I should remind everybody. Thursday is December 1st, first of the month. And if you're in the city of Chicago, that means it's the first day of the winter parking ban.
Yes. So watch for the signs.
Yeah, watch for the signs. Make absolutely certain that if there is a winter parking ban sign on the street you're parking, don't park there overnight. They will ticket you. It's a huge revenue thing for the city of Chicago.
Yes, I've definitely gotten hit with those as well. And then I actually have one more announcement.
They look like this.
Yeah, go ahead and show that. Very, very good. Very good. Look at us. We are always doing services for our fellow Chicagoans. And speaking of services for fellow Chicagoans, there is one other announcement I do have to make. And as you said, December 1st, Ed, it reminded me that there is one more very, very time sensitive story that I'm just going to rattle off really quickly. So Teachers for Social Justice and Black Alliance for Peace want to amplify an opt-out resource intended for educators, CPS families, and youth as part of Every Child Succeeds Act, which is the reauthorization of No Child Left Behind. School districts are required to submit student personal information to the Department of Defense, but there is an option to opt out. The deadline is December 1st. So in the updated show notes, I did put the link for the document that you can fill out to opt out. And basically, they turn over the personal information of students so that recruiters for the military can contact them and basically goad them into becoming part of our war machine. So the student has to be 18 or older to opt out. Otherwise, they need a parent or guardian to do that. If you have more than one child attending CPS, you have to submit separate forms for both of them. And the opt-out form requires a student ID number. So make sure you record the 8-digit ID number in the form accurately.
Oh, okay. So this basically is where they used to have everybody required to register for selective service. So there's an actual way to opt out now. Is that what you're saying, Kira?
That's what they're saying.
Okay.
Yep.
I want to share a quick live chat
first
from Aviance in relation to what we were just talking about with the mayor's race. 35 to 50 wards have less than 80% voter turnout. We've mentioned that, Aviance. Let's make that change this February. As we continue to cover mayoral election coverage, we are also going to pull out and dust off the list of the aldermen that did not show up for that meeting where they were required to be at to get a referendum on the ballot to tax higher income tiered property owners to help raise money for those who are living in tents who are homeless across the city. We want to make sure that people come out and vote against them and vote for their opponents, because this has just got to stop. We have to, the best way to hold these fuckers accountable is where they're failing the most vulnerable amongst us, vote them out. We've got a great race this year with a lot of actual authentic progressives who are running, given the amount of aldermen who are finally bailing out. Maybe this election will be the one that turns the tides for Chicago. So, when Aviance shares this, I really do hope that, like when Harold Washington ran and there was an 80% voter turnout, we can encourage more people to spread the word and get more voters out in February for the candidate that reflects your values. We're not going to tell you who to vote for, but we're going to present all the candidates and tell you what their values are and whether you think they're going to win or lose based on the amount of money they have or the amount of recognition they have. If everybody votes for the candidate that represents their values, this whole two-party duopoly can be broken. Because the more people realize voting for the candidate that reflects your values is the way to do it, and not play the numbers of, I'm going to be a spoiler because I'm not in this tribe or that tribe. We got to start breaking that thinking.
For sure. Cool.
Yeah, and we have to break apart the Chicago machine.
Yep.
The wheels are already starting to fall off. We know it's kind of like driving lopsided right now. It's got one tire that's just kind of, flat and driving weird. We got all the clowns bailing out of the clown car too. So, we got a whole new set of clowns, but some of them might
Some
actually
of them are not
be
clowns. Some of them are
not clowns.
No.
Indeed.
We'll see what happens. Local government is where you can make the best impact. Don't worry so much about the national stuff right now. I mean, obviously there are things that you have to do to harass your national representatives, but on the local level, you can make a huge impact just by doing things locally.
Yes!
Exactly, Gregory Hines.
Exactly.
And we showed that with the Focus Fairy folks who were joining us for the first part of the show.
Indeed.
All right, Kira, I will
right.
take us out. Thank you for, we had a great time bringing on guests and stuff tonight.
It's a good show. It was a good show. I'd like to see us bringing on more. And I know that we do have a couple more maybe lined up. I don't want to oversell ourselves yet, but I am in conversation also with other folks who aren't booked yet. So we will continue to bring Chicago onto our show here. So Thank you, Ed, and thank you, Jerry, for joining me. I am Kira, here as always on Tuesdays. You can catch Chicago Corner again on Friday evening with Jerry and Ed at 7:30 p.m. So definitely be sure to tune in. And, Ed's always having pizza. They're having drinks. It's a little bit more laid back than the Tuesday show, although, I'm not saying anything. The Tuesday show rocks. And so with that, I'll see you next Tuesday.
Get out. And don't come back until you've redeemed yourselves.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.